For the last 15 years, I've been working in the world of corporate recruitment and staffing. But over the last 8 years, I've had the unique opportunity, because of some amazing colleagues, to blend in the world of workforce development, career counseling, and education. And that has led us to a prompt, or a question, or a challenge that goes, how does a child aspire to a career they don't know exists? Especially when we know that most children will never have a class on career readiness, college exploration, or anything like it. In fact, they'll spend most of their time worrying about grades. So another question, why the lack of dedicated time, people, and resources working with young people to really explore what's out there in the world? What if one of the purposes of school and of education was to help each child discover and explore their own unique strengths, interests, and values, and how those can align to their next steps in life? Because we know that students are going to spend years studying biology, chemistry, and English. They can provide interesting commentary on a variety of novels and literature, and they gain this awareness day after day, class after class, year after year. But they can't with clarity articulate who they are and their next steps in life. They'll spend an amount of time near zero focusing on themselves and how they fit into the world. Is this not more important than world history? I mean, should we really focus on world history when we don't know how we fit into the world? Now, I'm not suggesting that young people need to select what career they want at an early age, but I do think that during these formative, critical years, that young people should have the opportunity to understand how it is that they are wired and the enormous range of possibilities out in the world. When I was in high school, I had a number of amazing people around me. I went to a great boys' school called Boys Latin back in Baltimore, Maryland. That school made a big difference in my life. I wasn't a particularly good student. I think I was a much better athlete. And I love this photo because it reminds me of a very powerful TED Talk by Amy Cuddy. She's a social psychologist that studies nonverbal communication. And in this moment, you see me in my power pose, in my pride pose, like at the best of the best. I can guarantee you that there were no pride poses happening in my math class. I was so bad at math, so bad at math. In this case, I had just intercepted a football and ran it back 55 yards for a touchdown. This is when I was at my best. And I had my grades in my back pocket to prove it. I remember sitting at my desk and thinking, why am I here? What am I meant to do? This math stuff is so important to the adults. I'm so bad at it. Who would ever want me? I even remember a teacher at one point saying, we shouldn't expect too much more from Ed through the end of the semester. And that was really hard to hear. But the good news is that I made it through high school. I ended up going to college. 3 colleges later, and almost 5 years later, I stumbled into a major that did meet my talents, or did match my talents, and better yet, didn't require math. I even graduated with 3 job offers. I had successfully made it through high school and college without having a single conversation about my own unique strengths, interests, and values, and how those align to the world. At this point, I was employed, but I was still wondering, where do I fit in? As it turns out, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, the love of my life, was getting her degree in, of all things, career counseling. And she used me as a test pilot for this instrument that career counselors use called the MBTI, or the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. I was 25. I can still remember the moment when she shared with me the results that read, practical service to people. In that moment, I knew that I mattered to the world. In that moment, I knew that I had special gifts and special talents that could be deployed beyond my mathematics skills. That moment, and that assessment in particular changed my entire trajectory around my thoughts around how I matter to the world. And over the next several years, I would take additional assessments, like the Strong Interest Inventory and the Strengths Finder 2.0, And these instruments all together would create this unique career portfolio that would help me understand how I orient myself to the world. It helped me craft my dream job, the job that I have today. It helped me understand how I approach management, leadership, how I handle risk. It changed my entire outlook on my world of work and where I could fit in. At this point, the only question I was asking myself is, I wonder how much pain I could have avoided and how many other pathways I could have explored if I had access to these assessments early on in life. You know, when you have something like this that's so life-changing, you want to share it with others. And I can remember pretty early on thinking, I want to give others the opportunity to access these assessments so that they can find their place in the world. And here I was, working at Qualcomm, of all places, in staffing and HR with the opportunity to do just that. Thanks to my wonderful, amazing boss, Ben Hampson, and an incredible colleague named Megan Graham, we put together this concept to create a career counseling practice right on site at Qualcomm. And the whole mission was to help our employees discover their own unique strengths, interests, and values, and help them align those to the world of work. We would attempt to move employees from considering just the extrinsic motivators in life of pay, title, and promotion, and move them to the intrinsic motivators of meaningfulness, purpose, and progress. 8 years later, more than 10,000 employees have sought services, all around gaining access to assessment, high-quality coaching, and that challenge for self-reflection. For me, it was a dream come true, my first career dream ever, to deploy that practical service to people and make a large impact on a large group of others. So, it wasn't enough just to go this far, because as we continued further with this program, we thought, what if we could give this back to others? And I know what you're thinking. Can someone tell this guy it's a TEDxKids? Well, this is where it gets really good, because over those 8 years, we started applying and adapting the work that we were doing with adults with young people. And if not deploying the assessment, we would deploy the concepts in half-day, full-day, multi-day, what we call experientships, opportunities to come on for students to come on site and experience our world of work. And this was our very first camp in 2009. We brought 30 underserved youth into Qualcomm headquarters for a 7-week experience. We provided them career exploration, and we just changed their worlds. And all of that work, all those years of practicing and trialing, led to what I want to share with you today, and that's the Think a Bit Lab. And the Think a Bit Lab is a dedicated makerspace for middle school students, grades 6th, 7th, and 8th, to get a hands-on experience with engineering, and also to get exposure to the world of work. Over the last 10 months, more than 3,000 students have come and experienced our world of work. They've come from all over San Diego, boys and girls, tech-savvy and not, well-to-do and underserved, all with the opportunity to experience our world of work. For many of them, their aspirations are solely what's in their 3-mile radius. For some of them, their only aspirations are what they see on TV. And we've opened a whole new world of work. 14,000 employees here in San Diego alone, multi-billion-dollar technology company right here. So originally we thought that our main focus was going to be exposing engineering for young people, but it turns out that the world of work has been equally as important, both to students and to administrators. And at the end of the day, students will come up to us and say, you know what? I want to work at Qualcomm. And you know what? I think I want to be an engineer. But they also thank us. They thank us for exposing them to careers they never knew existed and for interests they never knew they had. So from this 8-year journey, from my personal journey and from that of my team, we think there's 3 areas that we like to share that we think can make an impact in our community and a challenge to educators. We think that all schools at all levels should provide dedicated time through K through 12 for young people to experience the world of work and understand why the journey matters. One of my favorite stories comes from Dr. Shigela in Vista Unified. He was at our lab, and a young child came up to him after experiencing the world of work, and he said, "Principal, people always tell me that I need to go to college, but they never tell me why. Now, I know why, and I want you to know I'm going to go." We need to create relevance between education and the world of work. Secondly, we think there's an opportunity for what we call experientships. Many of you have heard of internships and apprenticeships. We take a different spin on it because those opportunities don't meet for all employers. Experientships are half-day, full-day, multi-day experiences for students to get on-site and experience real careers. We need employers, large and small, to step up and provide dedicated spaces and people to provide young people exposures to the world of work. And the third, there's this wonderful world of assessments that are just out there sitting on the shelves or waiting for deployment at a time of college or thereafter. Why do we allow these amazing instruments to sit on the shelf? Some are empirically based and highly validated, a small few. We need to help counselors do the work that they were meant to do, get these instruments in their hands, and allow them to use them with children so they can understand their unique strengths, interests, and values. At the end of the day, we think that these concepts, these ideas, are the ones that will make a difference for our young people. Imagine the impact of giving every child the knowledge that they have unique strengths, interests, and values that matter to the world. Do you think that would create a motivator for young people? It reminds me of one of the largest meta-analyses ever created on student learning by Professor John Hattie. In his research, Dr. Hattie found that the greatest effect size on student learning is student expectation of self. Do you think that helping a child understand their own unique strengths, interests, and values would impact their ability to know thyself and know thy impact? Because, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, we cannot predict the jobs of the future. And for that reason, we need to focus on the individual so that no matter what the jobs of their future are, they'll still know there's a place in the world for them, kind of like I have in providing practical service to people. Thank you.